Thunder. Prologue. Before it all, Chapter 2. Don't forget to leave a vote like on the chapter, it keeps me motivated. Arc. The years before middle school. 3 days later. Kaina Lady Nagant POV. Based upon all the tests, we can confidently conclude that his quirk is a rather unusual stockpiling quirk, and how it works is rather strange. The doctor spoke with me, as we sat outside the patient's room, or well, Kaido's. His nurse behind him, gathering and sifting through paperwork, for what it was they'd be giving me on what they'd found thus far. It's pretty obvious by the look on my face, that I wasn't exactly sure what they meant by that. I know what a stockpile-esque quirk is, of course. But the wording was odd. Strange in what way exactly? I pressed, just wanting some kind of idea. He looked to his nurse, who took it as a hint to pass over the documents of their experiments and tests to me. She does so promptly, returning eyes onto me as she passed them off, answering me. Kaido's quirk appears to have a lot in common with the way Taoism or Buddhism believes our bodies work. I believe, and this is just an educated guess, his quirk works the way Kai or chakra is believed to work in ancient times. Of course, with more versatility, which in of itself isn't exactly strange. Fundamentally, the quirk isn't all that unusual, given the types of quirks that exist, that are similar to it in recent times. He explained, as I opened the documents and skimmed through them, asking him as I returned eyes onto him. So, what is it that you found strange about it? He looks over at the nurse, who nods, with a look of confliction on his face, answering me straight. I presume you've heard of quirks that allow their wielder to temporarily or even permanently copy another quirk. I nod. I get the feeling that the quirk he holds, being a stockpile quirk, and being tied in with Kai or chakra, alone, shouldn't grant him any sort of unusual strength. And if you look at our findings in the documents, you'll find that Kaido was able to lift a 65-pound dumbbell consistently. That's not something a 3-year-old should be able to do. Not without a strength-enhancing quirk. And children most generally, with strength-enhancing quirks, almost always express incredible strengths from birth. There is no delay for when their strength appears. And according to his records, he had no signs of any unusual strength from either his parents or teachers. In fact, his parents had a doctor's visit to check up on if or not a quirk had yet appeared, and those documented from a month ago made mention that Kaido still hadn't showed signs of any quirks appearing yet. And this isn't even beginning to mention that he appears to have his mother's light-bending quirk as well. And halfway through our testing, he began to exhibit signs of our quirks as well. If only briefly. I'm still not entirely sure what he's getting at, but I do have an idea. He recognizes that, and brings a fist to his chin, clearing his throat into it. Before the nurse stepped forward, taking over for him. What Dr. Aline is trying to say, is we believe Kaido has developed a rare and unusual quirk. It's something we haven't actually given a name to yet. But it's when a quirk has multiple functions, and multiple traits that seem unrelated to each other. Most people are calling them half and halves, but, in this situation, we can't exactly call it that. The doctor now continuing off what she had said, no longer beating around the bush. Kaido has a quirk that acts as though two completely different quirks, packaged into one. We ultimately named his quirk Kai Manipulation, due to the main parameters of his quirk working as Kai or chakra does. But its abilities appear to be based upon the level of affection he has for the people around him, and it appears he can copy or mimic the quirks of those he has a high affinity for, but appears to be completely limited to only 2 at a time, and these quirks store within him. So, if he switches to one, he can still reuse the other he stored, but only after 24 hours has passed. He explains, before he looked inwards through the glass at Kaido playing with a nurse on the ground of the room, atop a playmat, colored in and designed like a city and roads, playing with toy cars. We all now look inwards. It is my belief that the boy's quirk activated when he was startled in the night, and accidentally activated his mother's quirk. The ensuing explosion was a byproduct of her quirk, without proper understanding or training to use it. He adds, shedding light on how he believed the boy accidentally killed his parents and destroyed the home. I part my lips, looking over onto him and the nurse. Their eyes, as they watch over Kaido, tell of pity for the boy, troubled on his behalf. He blames himself for what happened, and unfortunately, anyone potentially attempting to adopt probably will too. A shadow slowly begins to cast over my eyes, tilting my head forwards. Doubling down on a rash decision. Made out of duty and pity. 4 days later. Scanning my key card against the scanner, the red light turns off, and a light further down the scanner in green illuminated. 2 beeps tell of acceptance. Woo, this place is really big. I can't see the top. Kaido spoke, astonished by just how tall the building was. The loud clank of a deadbolt lock opening. That's because a lot of people work in this building. So, it's the tallest building inside the city, I inform him. I grab the door by a handle, and open it, meanwhile reaching back, gently taking his hand. Leading the way into the building. A what of people? How many? Innocent and excited to learn. Looking down over my shoulder at him with a subtle smile of enjoyment to his innocence. It was a different experience for me, a welcoming change to the daily doubt and mental battle of my hero life. I garner a few curious eyes from heroes and workers wandering the lobby, either in waiting chairs, behind reception desks, or wandering near the elevators and room doors. Well, last year, there was over 2,500 employees working at any given moment. I answered, speaking in a teacher-like manner, trying my best to find a motherly tone. But I can't seem to settle on a tone that I feel is motherly enough. Perhaps I'm holding myself at too high a standard to find it though. 2,500. Is that more than 100? I get the feeling he's not learned how to count that high yet. I grow an adored smile and an awkward sweat across my face as I casually scratch with one finger next to my mouth with a finger. Yes, it's 25 100s put together. I attempt to put it into perspective for him. Whoa. Rui. That's a lot of people. Nearing the elevators, I'm confronted by a hero I knew, approaching us, carrying a look of surprise, interest, and a tone of equal variety as I clicked the button to summon the elevator. Good morning, Nagant. I see you've brought a visitor today. He stopped in front us, as we reached the elevator doors. I looked towards him. Kaido didn't seem to be paying attention to any of the talking inside the room, as he didn't notice the man, until he recognizes me looking to someone, only then looking towards Edgeshot. Immediately becoming scared by what must have seemed like an unusual set of clothes, mask, and man. Hiding behind my legs the opposite side of where Edgeshot approached. You. He's surprised by Kaido's immediate shyness towards him. I look down, making the same sounds of surprise. He's been very fearless up to this point. What's wrong, Kaido? I asked in a mix of subtle worry and yet amusement to the fact he was scared of a hero of all people. Looking up at me with watery eyes, speaking in a heart-melting voice. There's a scary masked man. He answered, an awkward smile crosses over my face, while blue-lined shadows cast over the face of Edgeshot, who grows a comically large awkward sweat over the side of his face. I've never gotten that reaction before. Most kids think my ninja masks are cool, he admits in a tone of defeat, as though the words spoken about him pierced like daggers. I reach down, gently ruffling his hair, speaking in assurance. Hey, you don't have to be scared of Edgeshot. He's a hero too, you can trust him. He's friendly, I promise. He slowly unhides part of his face from the knees of my pant legs. And looked up at me, eyes still partially watery. Oh okay. But I'm staying here. I feel safe over here. Creating a fist at his chest level, eyes closed tight, Edgeshot speaks quietly to himself in a more determined manner. I have to make my mask less scary for the youth. It's important for the youth to feel safe, not scared when I'm around. He's reading way too deep into this, as usual. I raise my hands in a slow wave of calmness. Hey, you don't have to do all that, Edgeshot. He's just really shy, that's all. I lied out my teeth, in hopes of stopping Edgeshot from overthinking it. Up to now, I don't think Kaido's had a shy bone in his body. Not thus far at least. Sighing, dropping that subject, he looks at me with a friendly expression, taking a finger beneath his mask above the nose, and pulling it down as he spoke in a friendly manner. "So, may I ask why you brought someone with you today?" I sigh, rubbing the back of my neck, as I averted my gaze towards the ceiling behind me. It's embarrassing to say, I haven't gone public about having him, so I don't exactly trust passing him off to a babysitter yet. He subtly smiled brighter, teasing me after. "So, he is yours." I admit, I didn't see the lovely assassin to be someone with a love life. I return my sigh onto him, with a subtle blush, speaking embarrassedly. "If you must know, I adopted him, I admit." Kaido looked up at me, speaking in a confused, innocent tone. "Kaina, what's a babysitter? They don't sit on babies, do they?" I blush a little more, turning as I crouched down. Placing my hands beneath his pits, lifting him up into an arm as I stood up. "No, babysitters are like hired guardians. Think of them as a sort of temporary parent to watch and take care of you for a given amount of time." I explained best I could. With a more puzzled look, a look that told he felt like he himself was dull for having to ask. "Kaina. What does temperdorari mean?" He couldn't pronounce it. I smiled uncontrollably to the cuteness, and simply giggled at his struggle, ruffling his head. "I'll tell you later, and I'll teach you how to pronounce it, okay? You promise?" Raising his small hands up to me, with a pinky out. I brought my free hand from ruffling his hair, extending a pinky and locking pinkies with him. "I promise, adopted." "That seems rather bold and sudden, don't you think?" he asked me, as I returned my eyes onto him. The elevator finally arrives, dinking, and the doors opening as it does. "Believe me, I know." I thought long and hard before I did, turning away and walking into the elevator, continuing as I did. "Let's talk more about all this another time. Try not to tell anyone else until I figure out how to go public about it." "Okay." He nods, stopping outside the elevator. With that, I tap a button on the panel for the presidents of the Safety Commission's floor, and the door began to close. Kaido's eyes glowed with awe as the button began to glow, upon getting pressed. 1 month later. Swinging, kicking, and pouting loudly as Tiger hoists him beneath his arm from the ground. "No fair. Tiger, let me go. I wanna go with Kaina on another super secret spy mission," Kaido protested, having finally been captured by Tiger, having been chased by me, him, and the other 3 of the wild pussycats. Mandalay, panting as she approached, holding out my car keys, freshly retrieved from Kaido's little but devious hands. My hands on my knees as I leant forwards, panting hard. He's made us chase him for over 30 minutes, until Tiger arrived. He was the only one able to keep up with the little twerp. For the last time. "It's not a spy mission this time." I explain, I didn't want to get into any more detail. This mission wasn't a spy mission that I could casually bring him along, without worry of him seeing things or getting hurt. This is a hit mission, where I have to take down a criminal organization. I can't tell him that either. Anyone for that matter. Kicking and squirming even more, having heard that, he shouts in demand. "But you always go on spy missions. Why not this time?" Ragdoll spoke, trying to ruffle the squirmy boy's hair. "Your mother's a hero, sweetie, so she fights crime too, and she doesn't want you to get hurt or for villains to try and use you against her. She's just looking out for your safety." She attempts to explain, but as fearless as he always is. Protests, shouting and trying to assure everyone. Fight crime. But what if they hurt Kaina? I wanna help. I subtly sigh, sitting up straight, casually taking my keys, provided and retrieved by Mandalay. He was persistent, if not anything else. "Unfortunately, you couldn't even if you wanted to. You have to have a hero license to fight crime." I explained, in hopes it'd calm him a bit. He does, if only momentarily stop squirming in Tiger's arms. Raising a hand to his mouth and pressing a finger to his cheek. "Hero. License." He mispronounced it. A hero license is a warrant that allows select heroes to use their quirks in times of emergency. These permits grant regular civilians the pass to use their quirks to fight villains and assist in times of emergency on both private and public property, but those who do such things without one are breaking the law and considered criminals, or vigilantes, Tiger explains in a respectful manner. Kaido lowers his hand, and spoke curiously. "Oh, how do I get one? I wanna help Kaina." I, along with everyone except Tiger, begin to giggle at his persistence. Tiger begins explaining to him that he has to be much older, and the whole Hero Academy and good grades route. While he does, and has Kaido entertained and distracted, Pixabob approached me, looking out towards him with me. "I never expected someone like you to be the type to go out of your way to adopt, but I can see why you did." He's rambunctious, but he's a bundle of joy. I look to her, and choose not to talk about my true reasons of adopting him, was out of initial pity and duty. I felt then, if I didn't, no one would. And since I found him, I felt like it was my responsibility to watch over him. But in this moment, I don't. And instead speak a truth I only recently began to realize. I think he balances out the struggles I've been having in my life. Something about coming home to her adoring smile is soothing. Mandalay and Pixabob giggle into their poor gloves. "I don't doubt that." Pixabob spoke, as Mandalay asked a rather pressing question, slipping it in since the conversation was relevant. Glancing over at me as she asked, "So, do you plan on going public about it anytime soon?" I stare now, very intensely, at the twinkle and sparkle of Kaido's eyes as Tiger explained the whole hero thing to him. I let out a deep sigh. Tsukochi told me I had two choices. People have already begun to notice us out in public, a small media following is starting to get traction online that is my own, but to what capacity? I continue now in a more conflicted tone, unsure what to do myself. I can come out and say I adopted a child. But doing so comes with negative press, a hero adopting a kid who appears to have a great deal of power and a rocky past. His parents dying by his hands. Even if accidental, the media will have a field day with him. Not to mention kids in school will bully him for his past and being adopted, of course. Kids can be terrible to each other when they're young. And of course, doing so means he can keep his last name, which is all he has left of his family. Real family. Or option 2. Tsukochi said he could change around the paper trail, make it look like he never had ties to his parents. His last name would be changed to my own, and the paper trail of his birth would lead back to me, and the trail would tell of me keeping him secret as a secret love child up to recent times. He'd be still pestered a bit by the media, being the child of a hero, sure. But the bullying wouldn't be there like it would be the other route, and a number of other things would be more streamlined in his life in comparison, but I'm not sure that it's my place to take away his name like that. And it's not my decision anyway. It's his, not mine. I explain, showing my utter confliction to the situation. Ragdoll spoke in a rather confident and encouraging manner, patting me on the back as she passed. "You're right. It's no one else's decision to make, but his. Which is why you should sit him down and make sure he truly understands what's going on, and allow him to make that decision. And it's important that you don't rush him in that decision-making. Give him all the time he needs. And he'll give you his answer." Mandalay and Pixabob smile at me, in a sense of encouragement and respect. "Try not to worry too much about Kaido today. Believe me, this isn't the first time we've had to babysit kids. Just focus on your mission today." "Okay." Mandalay spoke, bringing me back into reality. I looked to them, nodding. End of chapter 2.